Hi everybody, John back again. I'm going to make this video and get it sort of posted up today. I feel a little bit like I'm falling behind. A few people have sort of been talking about their favourite records that are turning 50 this year, and I've had it in mind to do it, and I've sort of mentally been making a list. And of course last night I saw James Griffiths publish a part of his sort of countdown of favourite records turning 50, and he had one or two on there that I had originally included on my list, so I had to review because I don't want to repeat. But also, you know, you do want to have some kind of integrity to your list, don't you? You want it to reflect your own personal favourites. So I'm going to start off. A lot of people have been showing this. It is indeed a very good record. So this is Blow by Blow by Jeff Beck. A record I've had for quite some time. I had it for a long time before I really sort of learned to appreciate it and enjoy it. I think it was really getting a handle on, you know, an appreciation of jazz music that did it for me, because before that this record didn't really speak to me very much. There's definitely a lot of jazz influence on this. Great record. So that's an honourable mention, I'll say. Another honourable mention is Fandango by ZZ Top. What can I tell you about this other than it's, I mean, yeah, they did a string of great records, didn't they? The question is, you know, do you like the music that ZZ Top made before they made Afterburner or Eliminator, or the stuff that came afterwards? I personally like the earlier stuff, a lot more sort of blues influenced. But, so that's another honourable mention. So now comes my list. At number 10, I've put Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. Recently reacquired this. I had a copy of this in my late teens, I think, and I think I must have lent it to somebody. I'm not really sure, but suffice to say that when I come to sort of want to listen to it again, sort of years later, I couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to send off and buy it again. Great record, concept album. It's a theme that Alice Cooper visits again later on in an album that he released, about 20 years ago now. And that sort of continues the concept, but this is really cool. I think it's, as well, it's his first, I think Alice's first album that he released as a solo artist called Alice Cooper, sort of outside of the band Alice Cooper. There you go. Welcome to My Nightmare. Again, this is a record that I acquired later on in life. I had absolutely no interest in jazz or funk whatsoever. In fact, this is probably one of those albums that I got that really turned my thoughts and my appreciation around a bit. It's so funky. So this is BT Express, and it's one of those sort of funk records. 1975, still very funky. So it's before disco came to be a thing, and yeah, I think a lot of soul and funk bands jumped on that disco bandwagon. Why wouldn't they? It was a big movement at the time. But listening back to that disco music, it's not very nice now. I don't think so. Whereas this is still very much gritty funk. So brilliant record. BT Express, non-stop. Toys in the Attic. So that's number 8. Toys in the Attic. One of my earliest, or one of my first albums by Aerosmith. I picked this up second hand when I lived as a student in Portsmouth. I'd recently bought their Pump album and enjoyed it very, very much, and saw this in a second-hand record shop. So it's actually the second album of theirs that I owned. This is going back in the late 80s now. The songs are brilliant. I love it for that. The sad thing is I feel the production isn't very good. Maybe it's just my pressing, I don't know, but it's got sort of kind of a muddy sound to it. But aside from that, the songs are brilliant. You know, it's got that big one on it. What was it called? Walk This Way. You know, it was later sort of done as a song together with one of those hip hop groups. So this has the original on it. It's a really good album. Yeah, there you go. Toys in the Attic. Next is an album by Black Sabbath, Sabotage. So this is number 7. Yeah, I mean, those early Sabbath albums are just fantastic, and this just fits nicely into all of that, really. Lovely record. I didn't like Sabbath very much in the beginning because my head was too firmly into Led Zeppelin. Sabbath seemed to kind of, I don't know, they seemed not to deliver the same kind of hit that you get from a Led Zeppelin record. However, I will say that come the day when I just really wanted to get into that stoner rock kind of sound, all those early Black Sabbath records that I'd collected just fell perfectly in place. Bit of a spooky cover. I've always thought it's a bit of a spooky cover, but I suppose that's the intention. So this is what we got playing in the background. So 10, 9, 8, 7. So this is number 6. This is what we got playing in the background. This is Harmonium. And I won't try and pronounce the French name. I don't speak French. But this is one of those sort of yeah, sort of, I think they're French Canadian. This is one of those sort of progressive rock albums that people have, you know, flocked to for a long time. It's just beautiful music. I mean, progressive rock or not, it's just beautiful music. It's, yeah, lovely. So this next album on the list is Cherry 5 by Cherry 5. Fantastic progressive rock album. This came to me quite late in life. It's sort of a bit of a hidden gem, I suppose. This band went on to become known as Goblin. Goblin are perhaps more, you know, people perhaps more familiar with that name. Goblin was sort of, what would you say, sort of film score music type stuff, but still very progressive rock. This is progressive rock. I'd say it was perhaps a bit more, you know, obvious and a bit more mainstream, but it's really, really good. If you haven't heard this one, check it out. But it's that good that it's that high on my list of favourite records turning 50 this year. So from this point forward, it's my top 4. It's very, very tight. I struggled to find which one is my favourite, but which one holds 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. But anyway, I'm going to go for this countdown. I could not include Wish You Were Here. Fantastic album, one that everybody should own. Incredible record. Possibly, yeah, the very first album by Pink Floyd that I got to know and enjoy. And I reacquired this again later on in life on CD and spent a lot of time walking my dogs on long country walks listening to this. And yeah, if it has one fault, it's one of those albums that perhaps gets overplayed, and I haven't listened to this for a few years now, and it's not because I don't like it, it's because it's so addictive when you do get into it, you can't not listen to it. But that's my number 4. Now, top 3, really tight. This record I'm going to show now, UFO Fawcett, is possibly one of my all-time top 10 favourite albums of all time. So it's a Hypnosis cover. I think it's about the third or fourth studio album by UFO. I mean, I love this. What I like so much about this is you can hear so much of what was to come, not just from UFO, but from heavy metal, really. You know, a lot of those new wave of British heavy metal bands, you know, you could hear that they'd been growing up on this stuff, and it's there. I think you can hear Iron Maiden so clearly in this music. You can hear a lot of what you know, Saxon would go on to do. And for that reason, it's so groundbreaking, and doesn't really get that attention that I think it deserves from the sort of hard rock and heavy metal community. But for me, it's easily the best UFO album, and like I said, sits firmly in my top 10 albums of all time, I think. As does this one. My number 2 record is Dreamboat Annie by Heart. This was the first album by them I got, and it is their first album release. And I fell in love with this record around about the same time as I was getting into Led Zeppelin. I said it before and I'll say it again. For me, it's a perfect companion record to Houses of the Holy by Led Zeppelin. It's just so nice. I mean, Annie Wilson on vocals, her voice, you know, is just pure and beautiful, and they've got themselves a really great band, fantastic musicians, and the album is, I don't know if you'd say it's a concept album, but there's this thread about Dreamboat Annie that repeats itself throughout. Dreamboat Annie, so Dreamboat Annie, Fantasy Child, Dreamboat Annie, and then at the end you got Dreamboat Annie Reprise, and it's a theme that kind of, you know, yeah, comes up through the record. Very, very nice. My number 2, it couldn't be anything less than the monster that is Physical Graffiti. Possibly my favourite double album of all time by anybody. It's, yeah, words fail me. I love this record so much. I always remember when I got it, you know, it knocked me sideways, reinvented who I am. One of my favourite bands, always have been. I seldom play Led Zeppelin because I'm very conscious of overplaying them, and I never want to lose that thrill that I get from putting them on. I normally save playing Led Zeppelin for things like birthdays or, you know, special occasions. It's a particularly nice sunny day outside in the summer, I'll play Led Zeppelin because I don't want them to become commonplace to me. And this has got so many great tracks. You know, there are detractors out there, people that like to sort of have this attitude that you can take a double album and distill it down to a single album and it makes it better. For me, no, I can't do that. I love every track on here. There's nothing bad about it. It's just, it's got so much diversity in it, which is lovely. And that's my number 1 album from 1975, turning 50 this year. Thank you very much everybody for watching. I hope you found this mildly interesting. Check out my next video.